importance of the lands which we all call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibilities in improving relationships between nations and improving our own understanding of local indigenous people and their cultures. Okay, disclosures of pecuniary interest,
Not for me.
and none for myself. Standing committee recommendations, so local road improvement, local improvement process subdivision, I have a report for 3.1 or?
Yes, so again, it's a verbal report, but it's a similar report that was brought to council. So we talked about the process of receiving a request, initial request we did see from Mr. Doe. And the second part of it would be to circulate a petition. The petition in this particular case, we can petition for both road and sewers because council has not waived for sewers. But it was the process right now that is in a bit of, because if the price comes too high, there wants to be some mechanism for the proponent to withdraw his petition, and there's a process for that. But in discussion with Mr. Mr. Doe, there is, once we receive the petition, it sets the wheel in motion. And to stop it, we have to receive a petition to stop it. And it's nice work, but that's a lot of paperwork and there's timelines when that starts. But in doing my research, we can actually issue a tender and receive bids, publicly receive the bids, so we know company A bid X amount of dollars, company B, and then at that point, in that process, if the price comes in within a certain range that is acceptable by the proponent, then we can follow through with the petition after. So we're not bound with that timeline of receiving the petition. So it's just a different way. Otherwise, we can still move forward, but it really sets up for a quick, with very limited time. So if there's an issue with the tender, it's delayed, like, there's a limit, from what I understand is normally 30 days. Notice has to be put out that we certify.
To pull out.
Yeah, that we certify the petition, and only have 30 days to pull out. So, that being said, I think my recommendation to the committee and then is that you direct staff, or recommend that you direct staff to circulate a tender for road and sewer system for the front part, the remainder of Parkview and part of Greenwood. And that, once we get that, then we can have a further discussion. We will know the construction price, and after that, we can circulate the petition and then move it to council and move the project forward. It's just a way to, let's find out the price, because right now, I think the concern from Mr. Doe is what's the bottom dollar, what's gonna cost. And you can address Mr. Doe on the concern of if the house is not built, we have a bit of leeway to start the payment process, but we have to start a process for repayment. So if there's no houses, then built for a few years, well, that would be the proponent's risk, but not ours, because we taxed a lot, lot's not paid. And just by the addition of a road and sewer system, the lot gains value. So it's a way moving forward, and that will take into account. And then say if the price of the sewer system comes unacceptable by the proponent, then maybe council at that point can revisit other options.
Okay. So on that, what are you thinking as far as
Well,
the recommendation?
What I'm thinking is that the advantage from what I heard is that if we have somebody that's running behind on his bids, instead of maybe just having the one or two, we might have three, or I don't know how many there we could have, but we might get that extra bid coming in that somebody needs to sharpen his pencil and might be the winning one that's gonna make everything happen. As opposed to if we go with the process where Mr. Doe has to file his petition right away, then we have a limit, right? What did the
No,
limit?
it's just we tender before the petition.
Yeah, that's what I
But
was
it would
saying.
be the same, open publicly to anyone.
Yes,
Because
but I'm
once the
saying we
petition
put,
starts, you have
the
30
limit
days.
could be more than 30 days for the response.
You'll give, instead of only giving ourselves 30 days to get the tenders and bring them back, this way here, if the tender's already done prior, then your 30 days, you have more time to do, just crunch numbers.
Yeah,
Instead of looking for tenders, then it'll be less of a rush.
yeah, exactly, that's what I hear.
So I like, I also, I think, Mayor Buckiney is in favor, I think I'm in favor of the way that, that proposal was said. I think we could present that to council and say that that's what we recommend also.
Okay.
in that fashion.
Do you have any questions?
When council, tell me if I'm wrong, agreed to water and sewer the last time I was here, am I right or wrong?
Water and sewer?
Sewer road. Well,
Yeah, not water.
Did council agree to a first step to have water, sewer and road,
Yeah, that was,
is the question?
I think I wasn't here that
it was
day.
to be petitioned though, right? Like that was,
Yeah.
that was the conditions of the petition. The
Condition of the petition,
Yeah,
okay.
so the petition was petitioning for the improvement of road and the sewage being added.
Okay, my situation, if it's at this one number that I think is going to be at, the petition, would put the lots at $45,000. At a cost of $45,000. I'm told that, should it go through, that it would be added to the taxes per lot. The taxes per lot, once we build a house, and if you have right off the bat, a $2,000-3,000 bill, plus your normal taxes, which would bring your taxes to $6,000 or $7,000 a year, we'd never sell a house. So, and the argument that was presented last time versus sewer versus field base by Mr. Poitier, and I couldn't speak to defend that. He made it sound like the little leak that I had on one of my rentals was just a loose cap. We tightened the cap and the smell was limited to that small area. If you listen to him, the whole of St. Charles smelled like sewer. I have since, and that was very discouraging to me that something like that would have been said without knowing exactly what the conditions were. And since then, I've spoken to Councillor Loftus and asked her about what had happened at that meeting. And she said she was confused because she didn't have, she thought it was this and she thought it was that and she thought, I said, no. It's a straightforward thing. And because you can't defend that when it's council for, there's a thing there. I couldn't defend that proposition. I was also told that one councillor said that, well, some people can afford sewer and the road. I can assure you that, and I'm speaking for Lynx Constructors, I have his permission, and we own the majority of the lots. And I can assure you we can afford. But from a business point of view, we're not we have to be, in order to shorten our time with interest and everything like that, we'd have to build like 12 houses in 1 year and hope they sell with a $6,000 or $7,000 tax bill. We've got some more that we're building on the side that is not in this proposal. And we're saying, can we knock down that cost? And the only way to knock down that cost, in our humble opinion, is that lot 1 and 2 are easily put on sewer by ourselves. The city doesn't have to pay, we'll do it ourselves, and the rest be on field bed. Therefore, not only does the community save money, we do too. And it's easier to sell a house when you have a $1,000 bill than a $2,000 and $3,000 bill, from a business point of view. And I know there's lots of field beds in St. Charles, and if you can name me one time that you've had a major issue, please. But I don't think you can. They're very safe, and we're looking at a cost factor and saving money for the municipality at the same time. You would have 2 lots on sewer at no cost to the community, and the rest would be on field bed. We are in favor, though, we certainly are in favor of water, or sewer and road, 100%, but only as we build. We're not going to pay payment and interest for 10 years, and we didn't build, we can't sell a house. So if you want water and sewer, gladly, but you can't force us to make a $3,000 payment on 12 lots. That's $36,000 a year that we would pay and not have a house, and nobody's, you know, it's not coming in.
And it costs you 20, 25 for a field bed, so.
No, it doesn't.
No?
No. Not for us. If it did, we'd certainly go with the water, sewer. It's not the money. It's the time to repay. If the time to repay is you start now, no, we're not going to build 12 houses to try and get rid of them, to get rid of the bill. We're going to build 1, 2 houses, yes, no problem. We'll make the, you know what I mean? But the object here is we have to make money. And in turn, if we make money, I'm sure the municipality makes money. And it's got to be a give and take here. So if you go with the first proposal, which was sewer at no expense to the city, we'll do it for 1 and 2, and the rest field bed, then we're not forced to borrow a shitload, an exuberant amount of money to build houses. If you go with water and sewer, then you have to give us some kind of break on when do we pay, and I would suggest that when do we start paying? Once the house is built.
And then what, then you sell it,
Of course. Or keep it, it's up to us.
so then where are you paying any portion of this work to be done? It's all gonna be burdened by the person buying the home and the taxpayers of the municipality?
What do you mean?
Well, if you're saying it's gonna be paid back off the tax roll, once the house is built.
Yeah.
You're selling it, that's when we're starting to apply the payment, so it no longer belongs to you, the payment, it belongs to the person that bought the house from you.
Or if I keep it, it belongs to me. It doesn't matter who pays for it.
No, I'm just saying the way.
Why are you
It's
pushing the bill on the
okay-
person who buys it? What does that
okay-
mean?
It's okay to save, you want us to make money, but the municipality, we're talking about tax dollars for the residents here. we can't go and just squander it. So we wanna make sure that if we're making proposals and we're advancing with such as investing in the road and the construction of the septic system in the road, underneath the road, wanna make sure that we're not wasting money foolishly either. And also the advantages that we see to it is anything farther north for future development, we'd be able to also tie in.
Farther north is not my concern.
I understand, but it's the residents of the municipality's concern. You see what I'm saying?
Well, what you
we're
said
trying to
is,
look at both sides.
what you just said is, why should I foot the bill to the buyer of the house? Regardless if I take the payment, when I sell the house, he's got that payment, so regardless, one way or the other, that guy is paying for the bill, not me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if a house, if the lots have been estimated, we've had them all with the road and sewer, $40,000. If the numbers come with the tenders, it's $45,000. We're not stupid people. We're in business to make money. If we lose money right off the bat, municipality doesn't lose money. You get all your money back plus interest. We lose. Then why should we even bother?
Well, and that's why it's all the more
Right?
reason to have the study done ahead of time, right, before we go ahead with your petition.
I don't understand a study. What's that?
The quotes.
The tender,
Yeah, yeah. I have the 3 tenders right now. They're sealed. I don't know what's in them.
they may, because it's not issued, they may have to redraft their numbers though, just,
Oh, they can do what they want. I don't know what the tenders are. But, yeah, I don't think you understand what I said. I'm for sewer and road. I'm not for, if it's going to be sewer and road, it's the taxpayer's problem. Taxpayer, that's me, right? No, I don't want to pay $3,000 a year on something that I don't even have income coming in. And I have to tag that on to the price of the house. Nobody's gonna buy that. Nobody. So from a business point of view, do you want houses or don't you? Simple.
Okay, everybody, yeah.
I think what the municipality is trying also to do is, obviously, building houses adds property taxes, which brings in more revenue for the municipality.
Of
and helps
course.
spread the load. The municipality, in trying to help anybody that's building, is ready to
And
hold.
it's appreciated 100%, I
Yeah,
can tell
is
you
ready
that.
to hold that debt under our books
Yep,
and slowly give it back. It's more or less like you had to build the road on your own.
Yes.
The other road on your own.
yes.
And
And we had to
you
get it back
put
by
all of the
housing.
money right up front.
Right,
So it's sort of, it's, if you think about it, it's like having somebody else pay for the road first, and you just give a little bit per property, per year.
Well, that's what-
And that's it.
Yeah.
And right now, we're not even sure what the numbers are.
Right.
So, like, once we have numbers, once we have concrete values and what the
Sure.
impact is gonna be on,
Yep.
then a discussion of what you're saying is might be justified to try and figure out, okay, is there a better way? Is there another way? But right now, I think council had decided, that was, I don't think I was here on that one time there, that to request
tenders,
sewer and roads.
yeah.
And we don't know, but from what I understand, you do have some documentation or some sketches from which to go ahead with the bidding?
I've given that to 3 contractors right now.
Okay. So.
They
and then-
have sent me a sealed envelope addressed to St. Charles
Oh, there we go.
municipality.
Well, once we open those,
I still think that we need to reach out on our own and get the tenders.
yeah, it'll be publicly,
yes, because the tender,
Oh, yeah, they'll, when you do put it public, they'll redo it again, I'm sure.
just gonna say, because we may have stipulations within the tender document
Yeah.
that may not be included in their documents of bonding, a performance bond, or a deposit.
Yeah, sure. I just went to see them well, I'll be honest, sometimes contractors, when it's municipalities that pay, the number's up there, right? So I made sure that you guys don't rip off the municipality there. You make reasonable numbers because I already know how much it would cost if I did it,
Well, there we go.
you know?
Well, so once we know those numbers, I think then would be
That'd be awesome, yeah.
that would be the time to
So
Yeah.
discuss.
going back on the recommendation from staff that we have the tendering done prior to the petition being distributed, I think is a wise decision. It gives us more, and once the petition is signed, then we have the 30 days to make a decision on
The
it.
petition, is that paper from me?
Yes.
It's prepared, but I was just, because once it's signed,
You have
it
30
starts the
days.
clock. And I
What?
don't wanna start the clock until we know the price.
Oh, I see, okay.
So I'm just, is taking a backward step, I'm getting the price, so, and then you'll petition whether to start the clock and get the process going.
I see.
But
You're gonna be the one deciding whether or not to submit the
is-
After the
petition.
fact.
But is there a possibility for me to negotiate with the council, let's say, to give me, to start, let's say an example, they start in June and they're finished in September. Would I have time from September on to start this payment plan?
Payment plan.
Because after all, I'm paying the interest, right?
Well, that's something that hasn't been looked at.
That has, so
We have
that's
to,
something
first of all-
after the petition, after the
We'll
bids.
need to see what kind of money we're talking about. Everyone's in the same boat as far as that goes.
Yeah,
We wanna know what the dollar amount is of the project, right? And from that point on, we'll be able to evaluate further what the municipality can and can't do, and what.
Right,
if it's
right.
you and your partners, but you can, not partners.
okay,
You and the other owners.
Yeah.
Can and can't do.
Okay.
okay, well, that's simple enough, eh? I think. Would, once what did you say was first, the tenders?
Okay,
So, once the tenders are in and we have another meeting, is it a meeting like this or a meeting of council?
At most,
it could be,
it could be another committee meeting.
Yeah, it could be.
Less formal, and then the committee will give recommendation to council, and council will choose to accept the committee's recommendation or not.
Okay, so we'd have another meeting where I can talk and we can negotiate something and something like that?
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, we can't
Not negotiate, but-
we can prepare options to present to council, but we can't
So you-
negotiate on behalf of council.
So if I'm clear, we would come here, okay, we have a tentative agreement, let's say. Not an agreement, but an understanding.
Or three, like I said, two options to bring to council, and then
Yeah.
council will decide, and whichever option they decide, at that point there, you can decide to file your petition or not.
But you guys bring it to council, eh? Not me.
No, through staff.
so,
Or
so,
more
so
drafted for
you will submit, sorry.
Go ahead.
So you will be submitting the petition back to the clerk, and that will be put on council's agenda. This committee will actually do the recommendation of probably the tender, potentially a financing, because council may choose different type of financing, interest only for the first few years, and
But that would be an understanding prior to that
Yeah.
council meeting,
Yes,
between
at
us,
this-
right?
To the conclusion, yeah.
So
The
maybe
submission
there'd
of
be
the-
2 or 3 options and you guys would give it to council and pick one.
Exactly.
Something like that?
Yeah, so from a committee meeting, we can't make decision, we can just make recommendations to council.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We're only two, and it takes three to make a choice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, okay. So that's, well, that's good, that went pretty good.
Okay?
Yeah.
I think it's better for everybody.
Sure,
No.
sure.
So now I think we're able to go to 3.2, that was best decision for
Fini?
infrastructure. I think
I'm finished.
everyone wants
I'm finished now.
Yeah. Okay.
the sewage option is option.
Specialist.
Wants to go with.
Yeah.
3.3
You can, yeah.
was a general discussion on improvement.
So actually, I think Mr. Simpson will be discussing on
3-2 or 3-3?
3-2. It should have been north subdivision, we're just missing the north, because 3-3 is a different issue total.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so I'll just let it start the microphone on the worksheet for you, or.
Oh, over there. So on 3.2, discussion and best options for infrastructure, it says subdivision, but as I'm being told, it should say north subdivision. This time here,
Yeah, Mr. Simpson should be able to talk and be addressed.
good evening.
Good evening, sir, gentlemen, your honor, board, worship, I think, one of those words.
Good evening.
So you have you want to discuss on the north subdivision, Mr. Simpson?
Yes, I submitted an application, for, municipal improvement on the north side of, and I discussed lately with Dennis, and I think with the planning committee previously about the possibility of stages for the north side, similar to what's happening on the south side or happened previously on the south side. And I'm in agreement with what was discussed. I believe from the understanding if the same principles apply to the north side, I believe I understand what was just discussed and is presented, and you would submit the north side for tender. Is possibilities to go with my application to initialize local improvement,
Yeah.
and
Danny?
Okay, I'll just maybe lay out a bit of the background. So for the south side, we do have a drawing, there's no lift station. For us to tender your section, which I think is the continuance of Emily, which is right across from the arena, to the end, we would have to actually tender, we would need, how does it work? Where is the lift station? And the details. So it's a bit more complicated on the north side to go to tender without dispersing quite a bit of funds. On the south side, it was straightforward. All the documentation were ready. It was just a matter of compiling the numbers. On the north side, it would require some engineering before going there. And at that process, I talked about triggering the process because anything before the petition cannot be charged back.
Okay.
It's only after the petition that we can group the cost, because we can spend quite a bit on engineering on the lift station, where the pipes, the layout. And if it doesn't go forward, there's no way to associate that to the loss because there's no petition received. So, but if you receive the petition, you expense all this money for those plans for the lift station, then there's a mechanism to move forward. So it's slightly different from the front, from the fact that we don't have the drawings laid out right now. The unfortunate part right now. So again, similar to the south side, the road is not a problem. It always ends up being how do we deal with septic versus sewers. We all know that the optimal solution is always putting on sewers. But in this case, there's a missing bit of information to go to tender at this point. So I'm just trying to clarify where if staff would have a difficulty to issue a tender on that.
Do you have any kind of documentation, Mr. Simpson, with regards to a lift station on the North Ave subdivision?
yeah, it's pointed out in the drawings, that are submitted, 9506, I think it is, or 5906 drawings for the subdivision. The original drawings that I submitted previously have the lift pumps and the sewage, because when the subdivision was approved back in 1982, all of the lift stations, water drain for the road, all that stuff is on that drawing. and I provided that drawing to council previously. And it's hard to see, but when you look down, it shows all of the lift stations. There are 3 lines, they're on blocks. The, block A and, or not A, B, I think it is, and D. Okay, which are on Emily Street, and I do wanna clarify that, my application is for Greenwood only. I didn't include, Meadowside or Emily Street, as was mentioned earlier, because I was under the impression from the planning committee, through just discussions, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Greenwood was what we were looking at for this coming summer, and it made sense to build the road, aside from sewage or septic field, to build the road as one complete build front to back. So there's no turnaround in front of the creek. So it does show on that plan that I submitted the drainage for those sewage, because it was approved in 1982 to be connected to the sewers. But Dennis brought to the attention of the council in his report that on the front half, that low number lift station, you're talking 200,000, but Dennis told me in our meeting, it could be as high as $1 million. Well, and that had to be considered for Mr. Dew, rightfully so. The same for sewage versus individual fields at the rear. The Sudbury Public Health themselves have approved sewage field because, as Mr. Dew said, very seldomly do you have a problem with a sewage field. And if there is a problem, it becomes the owner's problem, not the municipality's problem. And because of the lift stations to go under the creek, because the rear is higher, it slopes, it's got to go under the creek from my engineering report, and then to a lift station to come up to connect to the pipe that's on the front half that you're talking about, the rear housing with Mr. Dew's group. And that is why there needs to be a lift station at each side, Emily, but that may have to be reconsidered because in that plan, it was going from the original plan that was approved by the council in '82, and the sewers were supposed to go down and have a lift station to get over the hill. And there was supposed to be no sewage fields or septic fields. Everything was to be sewage, but rightfully so, because of the cost, and I understand totally as an owner, that when discussed with Dennis, I felt had the same, and I'm speaking on his behalf, the same impression that 2 lift stations to get under the creek is gonna drive the price way out of reach, as Mr. Dew said earlier, and has said rightfully so from the very beginning of his development. So I'm just trying to openly discuss this. I think if council says, yes, we want sewage to the north end, then a tender for a rough tender to be like you did in your report. You had a rough idea earlier on, Dennis, from a guy that told you it would be 56,000 for Mr. Dew's to be connected, roughly, as a rough estimate, not a hold you to the bar estimate. Now you're looking for tenders, which are a hold you to the bar cost, if they get the tender, which gives us a concrete price. So Dennis also, I believe in what I seen in the agenda minutes, in his previous report for the front half, broke it into sewage and road so that council could look at both. And I think that is the stage that I'm kinda, we're at, or on at, because if we gotta do 2 lift stations and it's gonna be 300,000, 400, 500,000, it puts the price of the lot out of reach unless we can do some things different, as Mr. Dew said, can make some kind of arrangements, because we still have some zoning things to be discussed as well on the rear half about side-by-side units, townhouses that I presented previously with engineered drawings to the planner and to the council on what they would look like in that, to break that cost down as well. That would help possibly with those 2 lift pumps, because now we're sharing it at a greater number than 34. Currently, we're sharing it at a number of 34. And when I say we're, it's I. Personally, that would be sharing it. There are no other owners. So if Dennis was to give me a petition on Friday, just for an example, to coincide with my application to initialize local improvement, I would be signing that petition right then and there and handing it back to him, because there's only one person that has to sign it, and that's me. So I would be doing that, because as I think in our conversations, the road is the first step, and sewers would be included when you were pricing that road. But I'd like to see Greenwood from front to back be started as fast as possible to support Mr. Dew and whatever his group decides, because they need roadway too. And I believe Mr. Dew presented a fine argument or negotiation to support the individual sewage fields on each lot. I actually went to school and was certified from George Brown in sewer field installation, just to make sure, because as Mr. Dew said, he doesn't want anybody getting a stinky kickback associated to his name. He is a proud gentleman, and I guarantee he would do whatever it took to come to resolution with that problem. So I have nothing else to say. I'm in agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to that ramble.
No problem. My only question, first of all, is for Dennis. So considering the different scenario, because we have Mr. Simpson said he had some drawings. Would they be sufficient to start a process, or
So,
would they need more
unfortunately,
details?
They may be, but I would have to look at them. I'm not aware, I don't know if I missed them, because I know, and I got the roads, I was, unfortunately, apologize, I was assuming, I've seen some drawings for Emily, and Greenwood is the first road, I think. So I saw some drawings for the roads more towards the east.
Yeah.
So I apologize if I got those roads' names, but I can take a look. Right now I can't speak to it, if the drawings are current. I know that Mr. Doe's drawings are within a year or so to the new standards. I would just have to make sure that there's enough so we can go to tender with. And I'm assuming they would be compliant, but unfortunately at this point, I just can't talk to it.
And
think
would-
the,
sorry.
I think on the drawing that Mr. Simpson was referring to, because I do recall going through them, it shows on the overhead view where the lift stations were to be located. It doesn't go into detail specifying how the lift station is to be built or the design of the lift
capacity or the
station,
design.
and that's what we would need, and that's the engineering that we're missing on the discussion of the lift station, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
You're correct, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm raising my hand, I'm not clicking a button. I apologize.
Yeah, that's fine.
The ministry, drainage superintendent that came and did a small presentation to allow the culvert size to be determined for the road unit. He might be able to give us a good indication on that lift requirement, because he had a depth number of what the creek is running at to give me a number for the size of the culvert required. And in that paperwork, that would be what the engineers needed, from what I've been told. I haven't put them directly on it because they do a feasibility study, and that's what was recommended in the feasibility study was that number that was provided by the drainage superintendent for the culvert. Because it shows a rough bottom of the, but I understand there may be more information required, and if there is, I'll do my very best to provide it to Dennis or council or anybody that needs the information. I want to work with everybody as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you.
I'll just like to confirm, yes, we do have sufficient information for the crossings. So, and the ditch, because through K-Smart, the engineer, they did provide the size of the culvert and the depth that it installed. So the crossing is not an issue at this point.
Okay. And that crossing, from what Mr. Simpson is saying, would be the number that you would require to move on with more detailed drawings for the septic.
For the,
Not
for the engineering of the sewage field, but I was also advised that the two lift pumps would put it out of feasibility, as Mr. Dew said earlier. Both those, in the feasibility study, I was told that I needed to negotiate with council about who's gonna foot the bill for lift stations, because it'll drive the price too high at the lot. The local market will not support that.
So I would like to propose that for this part here, we still do continue with the costing for the road and the road with sewage ran in it, just for our options. And I don't know who would be, I think it would be on Mr. Simpson to get us more of a drawing for what a lift station would look like. I don't know what the cost range is personally. But we would need to see what the options are for both at the north side as well.
Well, in order to get that quote that was surfaced a couple weeks ago, the 56,000 roughly, if that could be something that we could meet, like you're gonna meet with Mr. Dew in the future, even shorter, because you got that in a short period of time, I believe, Dennis. So that would give us a rough idea of not what exactly is required to go underneath the creek, but whether or not it's gonna need lift stations. Whether the lift station is lifting 15 feet or 10 feet. There's a small variance in cost there. The lift station itself is the great cost. I don't think the lift is the big cost. It's the station itself, the way I understand it from the feasibility study. And I had to ask a lot of questions because I'm not no expert in that area whatsoever. So if Dennis could get a rough idea so that we had some numbers to be able to talk, because I believe if you're gonna tender, I believe it's cheaper to tender Greenwood as a whole. You start tendering two different tenders and you're gonna get different the longer you go, the cheaper it should be, and Mr. Dew could testify to that. He's a developer way more experienced than any of us.
And that's what I was saying with the tender, getting a tender going to the north side with and without the sewage.
Okay, I'm in agreement totally, and then we can discuss it. I'm in total agreement. My apologies. I didn't understand it that way.
The lift station portion, we're not, the lift station is what we're not sure of for the costing, right? So that's what we're kind of, unless you could provide us with a design that you can pull out of somewhere, or something that would be feasible for that, we'd have to estimate a higher end on the lift station to get you your costing with sewage.
I agree, and Dennis's were very accurate from my own recent research. The 200 was, he's doing good. If he can get us 200, he's the man. His higher end of $1 million, that, I seen that number, but for rural northern Ontario, the numbers were different as well, because I checked what it's costing in Penetanguishene, a community that I know some developers, and Mr. Dew knows them. I believe we haven't discussed that, but I believe Mr. Dew knows them. And they're saying what it's costing them to hook up to each lot for sewer and road. So Dennis's numbers were pretty spot on. I'm willing to accept whatever Dennis finds it.
Okay, so just to add, so the consulting firm that I use, Labros Consulting, I like for the length of road, because there's a simple design, that's easy enough to estimate. The line would be, and again, it's the design of the lift station if it's compliant. The front part, I know Mr. Doe had done some engineering, so Labros Consulting had access to the information that was provided. So the depth, the run, because at a certain point there has to be a 2% grade, so that was all available. The back, I know the grade would be available, but it again, it's at the lift station. I can ask and see if they can generate a typical cost that we can put in, but it's hard to tender, because if you're unsure when you tender, they tend to raise the price. So the more specific you are in a tender, the better accuracy and the better price you get.
Exactly.
Any other comments, questions?
The only thing is, it's a situation of timing. Like if you'd be willing to wait to find out what happens with Mr. Doe's proposal first, to find out like costing and projection for development of that section first, that in itself might give more information for yourself and for council to determine what is the next step for the rear development. Because as it's been stated, if we want to get a full cost now, we need some papers to be, some drawings to be developed for the lift station. And I think that's the
understand that
problem.
totally. So Dennis has everything to get a quote for the road, because he has the culvert engineering from the drainage superintendent. So that would enable you to make a decision, the council, to make a decision on whether to tender out Greenwood right to the back, or tender out just Mr. Dew's and stopping, because that tender stopping has gotta include a turnaround. And that's a further expense to Mr. Dew's organization that would not be a part of it if you don't need to include a turnaround, because you're putting the road right to the turnaround on the rear of Greenwood as the original subdivision shows.
As well as the easements onto the property, or the space given for the turnaround, right? So, and we're aware of that. It's just, we're trying to make it so everything will work as efficiently as possible, but at the same time, economically, we need to make sure everything makes sense first.
So I agree. So if you're splitting them in half and getting the road done this coming summer, they would be able to do the road, and I would get access to the back by the middle of the summer, council will have the information to make a decision whether to include the sewer, because that'll give you, if you need extra information, the engineers will be able to provide that. They'll only do it in, as Dennis said earlier, presented, they'll just give you their opinion. And if we're in agreement, then we would enter to getting the engineering done that would be required. But to get an engineer involved, to draw up the lift stations and put them in place where the drawings show them being, it's same as it shows the road drainage on the drawings I'm referring to, Dennis mentioned earlier. So that Greenwood has drainage for water, road surface drainage.
Yeah, I believe the
So,
original intent
I don't
was
think-
it's
I don't-
supposed to be
I
paid.
don't-
There. I did.
Pardon me?
I think the original intent to everything was supposed to be paid back then for that subdivision. I don't know if we're still at that same level of expectations for the subdivision at this point. So it's there's a lot of going off of old drawings like that and an old idea that never came to fruition is hard on all of us because the cost of everything also changed, right? To be able to deliver that same exact subdivision that was proposed back then. So we're still.
I understand what you're saying, and I can't I can only agree, but if this would have been openly discussed, from the beginning, we would have agreed to the pavement of the roads. Okay, we thought that we were gonna be getting paved roads to go back there, we would have to incur the expense associated to that. But that's what we thought when I bought the property. But that has changed, understandably so. And if it's gonna be a dirt road to the back, then it'll be a dirt road to the back. But I think it still makes sense to, if you're gonna have a crew in there building the front half this spring, best case scenario, why not have them build across the drain? Because they have the engineering to do it, and I got it done a long
Don't
time
disagree with
ago.
that. One mobilization fee, you wouldn't have the reduction of lots, you wouldn't have to pay for the turnaround. We understand that, and that's all things to be considered by council when we make our decision, but they are noted and they are understood.
Thank you for your time, thank you for listening.
Yeah, no, you're welcome.
That's it for me.
Anything for yourselves? Okay. Moving on to 3.3, general discussion on improvement to the planning process in St. Charles. No more for this.
Again, sorry, verbal, it was off that email that I was forwarded to council, and I just wanted direction. So the mayor had brought
Can I just say one thing, Mr. Simpson, at this point? We're no longer gonna be talking about subdivisions towards the back. Or Mr. Doe is leaving, so you have the opportunity, you can stay, or you can sign off, it's your choice, okay?
Can I ask a question then? Because you're talking about the motion you brought forward, I think, Your Honor, and I would like to hear about that, the motion you brought multiple meetings ago for the planning.
Yeah, you can
At
still,
the,
you can still sit in
at
if you'd
the
like.
said level.
Yes, yeah, so you could still sit in if you'd like, Mr. Simpson, but
Yeah, I was
And,
just informing
he was
you.
just letting you know that if you had other things that you have to attend to, that you're welcome to leave if you'd like. Okay.
So this is a follow-up to the resolution brought from the mayor to seek the advice of a planner to come in and inform council. This is a bit in up-to-date where I hit a few roadblocks contacting local planners to come in before council. They don't even want to write an email because, and I understood after the fact, if they deal with the planning board, they don't want to be talking about the planning board, so it's business first, so they have clients. So two of them absolutely refused. He recommended if we still want to go that, there's still other planners, but it would be outside the planning district of this area, so it may be planners not from Sarnia, maybe from Perry Sound or otherwise, or maybe some planners that don't deal with the planning board. But it says if we wanted to go that way, he highly recommended two other options. So this is where I'm seeking advice from the committee. I can further expand my search for planners outside this area, or his first recommendation was to address all the concern and send it to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs to say we're not happy. It's delaying the process, apparently, because it's always a perception, and to state our grievances and how the system could be improved directly with the Director of Municipal Affairs and Housing. So that was his highly first recommendation. His second recommendation is to organize at municipal level. So basically you would seek similar municipalities in the Sudbury-East to also figure out an alternate delivery model. He said leaving it to the planning board solely for planning may not solve the issues that our councils are having. So it's having somebody external that is not part of the planning board doing the review. However you want to do that one. But he highly recommended that same type of resolution with the grievances. And this is mostly trying to encourage the process, build better homes, not better homes, faster homes. We're not seeing hundreds severances. We're not seeing the issue with the other developer wanting to build a house, and he actually agreed that there's other tools available to ensure that there's water, and if it doesn't work out, it's as long as the developer's fully aware of what he's getting into, just let him change the zoning.
It falls on the homeowner if there's water issues, and it falls on the landlord if there's water issues.
So, building it this way, we're now, we can still go the planner route or just go right to,
Municipal affairs.
the municipal affairs, and that would be hopefully quick, where maybe the planning committee can join a few members from other willing municipalities. I can't talk about the neighboring municipalities. I know there's one more with issues, the other one and maybe not. But that could maybe put things on the table of we need a review, and we need a review by the province and not by us. If this is the Sudbury Planning Board is a creation of the province, and that's where he was coming from. He says the province built this. Why are you trying to solve this problem? You're just going to go to the province and say, this is not working out. We need, council is the decision maker when it comes to zoning matters. And unfortunately, we know that just simple issues of a well is frustrating some potential development and maybe delaying it.
Well, it's not just that, it can change the development to giving us 5 units in the municipality down to 2 per lot, right? So it's a lot of things to consider, and I know it's an issue. It might even be too late. That said developer might have already changed their mind, we don't know. But it's just the roadblocks that keep on getting put in place, when, as you said, the zoning is at the discretion of council if we choose to change it or not, regardless of the recommendation of the planner, and we're just going to be able to get to that point, right?
And that's where he really made it clear that you have to give that message. So we can go multiple. I can still search out, it'll cost more. Like the local planners, like even the gentleman I was speaking to, would have did the presentation and no cost, because he wants to see a better process. His clients are from the region, and unfortunately he has difficulties with the planning process in our region, and it would greatly assist him if it be a greater process. If I go to an external, there may be an additional cost. Obviously, we do have electronics, so it may be possible. But I just felt it just bringing before the committee because now I have to expand my search outside. And I understand and I would respect that. I wouldn't ask anyone that does business with the Sudbury Planning Board to come and say, well, no, we need to change
Because
this.
they might be subject to some extra studies in the future.
Exactly.
Don't wanna say, but I don't wanna compromise their business, it's fair, and I
Yeah.
understand the gentleman.
No, thanks for your report on that. I think, it was brought up at the planning board level too. I think all the board members are aware that we need to make, a change in some manner. It's hard to pinpoint and make a decision on what it's gonna be right now. Hopefully by our next meeting, people have had enough time to research what they need to research and, help them come up with a decision, but I feel that, I don't know, I'm pretty sure everybody here feels the same way, that the issue with the rezoning, we should just be able to rezone what we want. We accept opinions and recommendation from our staff, in which the planner would fall under being one of our staff. And, but at the end of the day, it is a recommendation and it's not final say. So we should still have the choice to be presented the recommendation and say yea or nay, and not just have to wait. And we need to be able to make decisions. So, anything to add, Rebecca?
Well, you know what, after hearing about municipal affairs and housing, maybe, was it stated that we should make a resolution and it's just listing our preoccupations exactly? Do you have a concept of what
So
sort
the-
of resolution would be needed?
As staff, the only content I can put in a letter, it would be from the resolution that the mayor put forward. If there's more items that wasn't covered by the resolution, I just can't put it in.
Okay.
But I can definitely start the process and drafting a letter and maybe sharing with the committee members to see if this is from the resolution. Because the content I put in the email to the planner says, he didn't even wanna type it, so he called me up, he says, you're bang on.
The resolution, if it were to be shared to the neighboring municipalities
Mhm.
in search of support for the resolution, that could be shared also to MMA, you said it was?
The Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the director, her office is in Sudbury. We had an opportunity to meet her quickly when we went for training in Zilda. And he said, go right to them and just state your point. And right now, the process is not conducive for housing start, which is a priority from the government. And just as a side note, and I do apologize to anyone that's listening to this in terms of being correct, but I'll try to do justice what he said. The Planning Act was built for Southern Ontario. It was to try to hold off the development, taking over farmland, removing the swamps and building over everything. Around here, we have to build around trees, around swamp and rock, and there's a whole bunch of tools to prevent us from paving over paradise. I don't think it's a problem in St. Charles. I don't think it's a problem in Northern Ontario. They still have to protect. But the Planning Act has a lot of tools that are built in to slow or prevent sprawl, and unfortunately it is the tools available to planners. But should we apply all the tools in Northern Ontario? Yes, protect the wetlands, protect the waterfront. There's a few things nobody will give on, but like if you have an open field and you want to put a house on it, why not? That's what is view. So it was just that if we can also, because that's his grief, it's not our grief. Our grief is just approve the zoning or bring it to council so council make a decision. But he did also state that the Planning Act has a lot of tools to prevent sprawl and rapid growth.
Was their opinion given based off of us council just going ahead and approving zoning without planning?
I did ask that. He said it's the way the system is created, it goes through the planning board. That's another thing when you sit down is like.
So if the applications were made to the planning board and never received by the municipality, or never received,
That's what.
technically, it did go to the planning board. And if we're aware and we have proof that the case went to the planning board and was not brought forth to us, at that point there, the proper stream was tried to be followed and was not delivered properly, so it still made it to that level, right?
Not, I get asked those questions, so if the planner has, the power to deem the application complete, if it's not complete, this is where I don't know the law. This is where you need to be in front of a neutral party, which I do believe, because if you're talking to the province, you're not talking to a planner, you're talking to an agent of the province. And planner aside, they have to say, who has the authority, and those are the questions we need to ask them directly, because I do believe that council should be aware of everything that is, to encourage growth. If it wasn't for the planner coming forward, we have no clue that there's a potential there. Because everything is stopped at the zoning.
Anything else?
Well, I think that we should go ahead with a resolution directed to the Ministry of Affairs and Housing. And I think instead of just looking for support from, I would send the same resolution to neighboring municipalities that are of the same opinion, or send them to all, and ask them if they are of interest to file their own resolution and send it also.
Okay, so I would have enough time to prepare it for Wednesday for next, the fourth, committee of the fourth. And at that point, you can sign off on the proposed, wording of the resolution and the letters being sent to the
I
minister.
think that's a minimum, but should we go ahead with the research of a external planner? That's a little
At this
bit,
point here, I don't think they're, let's
No.
go, I think, the
a
board-
resolution first?
Yeah, the committee agrees, the resolution to bring forward recommendation to bring forward the resolution, and also have our neighboring municipalities aware of what we're doing, and if they would like to either send a letter in support of ours or create their own.
Yeah.
Or participate in.
Or participate, yeah.
Oh, I lost my train of thought on that one. Holy cow. Yeah, we'll just go with that.
Did you have any questions there, Mr. Simpson? And I think I seen your hand go up for a second there.
I didn't know if I was allowed to ask a question, but I'm aware of, I have 3 different zoning applications in the hands of Seb. I don't believe council's aware of any of them.
I don't think so.
Okay,
Yes,
Um,
the planning.
there
board
was
or
the
building
rezoning
bylaw?
R2. There was, an application to discuss rezoning parts 1, 2, 3, and 4 on Casimir Road with the planner, as well as the planner previously would not, when I bought the property, the mayor would know that the agreement was for to be rezoned industrial, rural industrial. The planner said that I needed to provide the Health Canada approval for that address. I did. And he denied the application for rezoning.
So the planner can't deny an application.
Which is a different subject, but I think I was just bringing those forward to support what you have just agreed to, that I don't think you're aware of rezoning applications. I was under the impression that the planning committee would be the one that makes the decision. That's why we always presented to you, because the representatives we hire are from Southern Ontario, and they said present to the planning committee, because that's who makes the decision, not the planner. He's held your application up.
Yeah, and
So
that's
I'm just
what, supposed to happen.
Giving you information to support what you just decided already. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you for your input, Mr. Simpson, and, yeah, no, I can say, that the planner is not supposed to be making any decision on the zoning, just recommendations to council as a whole. And, council makes decision, so it's supposed to make the decision,
Yeah,
so, we would like to be included in having the opportunity to make those decisions.
Exactly.
And I know there's a process because he can deny, he's going for complete application, but if somebody, and again, I'm not sure the rules, but if it's an incomplete application by the council, it would be a recommendation to withdraw. I don't know the process on that one, but it definitely, discussion with the ministry. And the other point, that the planner that I talked to, he works with total of five, planning subdivision. And he said, an example of like Nipissing Township, they don't go through a planning board at all. They have an independent planner working, so they withdrew, and there's different types of arrangement in the 11 corridor, just south of North Bay. And so there's different models existing within our region. We're around the same lake, but they're using different models. I'm not saying one is better than the other. If this well-oiled machine may work better if there's a bit more discussion, communication. But there's other models that we don't have to go far to look at.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments, Martha?
No, I think everybody's pretty much aware of the situation.
So I think that was it. Recommendation for a resolution to council for item 3.3.
Okay.
That
Okay.
brings us to adjournment,
That's it.
motion.
Did we motion?
Close.
Or we just adjourn?
Adjourn.
Let's just adjourn that. All
That's-
right. Well, thanks for those at home watching, and Mr. Simpson also for participating, and hope everyone has a good evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Hey, have a good evening.
Have a good evening.
No.
Because I have a question for you. This is not advancing business, but how hard would it be to change a